The Constitutional Court confirming yesterday that a key section of the South African Citizenship Act, which led to citizens automatically losing their nationality after acquiring foreign citizenship, is unconstitutional, restoring the rights of those affected since 1995. Now, those affected are now deemed not to have lost their citizenship. So let's unpack this further now. We speak to immigrations lawyer Ashraf Essop, who is joining us on the line now. Good evening to you, Ashraf, and thank you so much for your time. Firstly, your reaction to the ruling.
Good evening and thanks for the opportunity. Of course, the ruling is definitely in line with the constitutional imperative that one should not be deprived or losing their citizenship merely at the stroke of a pen, as they would say. So the history is quite interesting. It started way back in the Pretoria High Court about 10 years ago. But the genesis of it is really back in 1995 when the Citizenship Act was basically amended post our democratic election. It's interesting to note that this provision was taken from the previous Citizenship Act and it survived the changes that were about to come. So why am I saying that? Because the rationale behind automatic loss of citizenship was not really found. The judge couldn't find what was the rationale. Why was it so insistent that if you were to acquire citizenship of another country apart from South Africa by some voluntary act, except marriage and being a minor, it resulted in automatic loss, and I think that is what the judges were grappling with at the Supreme Court of Appeals, as well as the Constitutional Court.
Now, when you look at this particular case, right, also being supported by Philip Blackies, right, who then left Cape Town, went to South Korea to teach English there, then getting married to a British citizen. He was then naturalized there through marriage as a citizen of the UK in 2007. But then years later, you know, he thought that he still had dual citizenship, and then only to find that he now doesn't, and he's been told he's lost his South African citizenship, and he supported this particular matter. But when you look at this, let's unpack the implications of losing your citizenship.
Well, I mean, that the implications of loss of citizenship are extremely severe. For one, you are denied all of the rights that are guaranteed in the South African Constitution. In order to enjoy those rights, such as freedom of movement, trade, religion, etc., you need to be a citizen. Now, without a citizenship, well, you can't access those rights. One of the unique rights of the citizens is the right to acquire a passport, a right to enter and leave the Republic freely, a right to earn an income. So all of those things had evaporated if you unknowingly or even knowingly took up citizenship of another country. Now, knowingly was provided for in the Act. It said that you had to get the permission of the Minister of Home Affairs in terms of Section 2, to retain South African citizenship. And the practical way to do it is you had to ask for permission and say to him, look, I want to retain my South African citizenship, and I'm taking citizenship up of Australia, and you then had to await a certificate. So if you never made application and you never got the certificate, or even if you made application, never got the certificate, that resulted in loss in terms of the legislation then in place. So you can imagine the kind of protections that the court was insistent that you had to have. You had to have, the protections afforded and safeguards afforded so that you don't lose your citizenship. And they found that those safeguards were missing in terms of the legislation that's now been declared unconstitutional. And therefore, they're saying this so-called automatic loss militates against the rights in the Constitution, and all legislation and judicial interventions, etc., have to be viewed through the Bill of Rights and the prism of the Constitution. So everything has to be weighed up against the rights enjoyed and safeguarded in the Constitution.
Immigration's lawyer Ashraf Essop, appreciate your time this evening.
Thank you. Bye.